Cases of domestic abuse have surged in lockdown and calls to domestic abuse helplines rocketed. Statistics show that almost 1 in 3 women aged 16 to 59 will experience domestic abuse in her lifetime, and 1/3 of all cases are men. Help really is needed. Last September, Brenda bravely opened up about her experience, prompted by the EastEnders storyline that was airing at the time. Just a warning, some of you might find this upsetting.
I met this guy, he was charming, he was gorgeous, and he said all the right things. It got to, well, why are you wearing that? You look awful, that doesn't suit you, take it off. And then it moved to, you know, we're just having a conversation, and he punched my wall, but then he apologised for it, so I let him off. It's like, OK, you know, maybe I did something. And then the second time he punched the door, I found myself asking, what have I done to deserve this, and what have I done? The horror that you feel when you think, this is somebody you love, they could never do that to you, they would never do that to you. But then, you know, I'm really glad that I had the strength, but I didn't have the strength to talk to my family.
Now, I know that wasn't an easy story for you to tell then or listen back to now, Brenda, but after that, the Metropolitan Police got in touch with you, Brenda, wanting to shine a light on how victims could get help.
Last year, 14 women were killed within 3 weeks of the first lockdown. That's the highest rate in a decade. Having been through domestic abuse myself, I know exactly how hard it is to take that first step of getting help. So I'm here at New Scotland Yard to meet Detective Constable Kate Lyons with the Metropolitan Police to find out just what support is available. Hi Kate, thank you for joining me. What would you say to someone who is scared to take that first step, or they're scared to come into the police station because they think they're not going to be believed or taken seriously?
I would say we want you to come into the police station. We want to know what's going on. We can't help you if we don't know what is happening.
How does someone who's going through domestic abuse, especially during this lockdown, how do they report it and how will they be treated when they come to the station?
Well, it's really important to remember the lockdown rules say that you can leave your home if you are trying to escape domestic abuse, and you should be leaving if you feel that you need to do so. Each case is going to be very different. The vast majority of our domestic abuse reports are made via the 999 system. A smaller number are taken at the police station, where someone has come in, they go to the front counter, and what they can expect is a member of staff that will normally be in uniform will take their initial allegation. It might be that they're asked to go through to an interview room to give a fuller statement. It might be that if it's a very serious offence, that they might be asked to go through to our victim suite that's equipped with cameras so that they can give their statement on camera.
Right. And what if someone needs somewhere safe to stay for that night?
Well, we can liaise with charities that have got access to refuge places and temporary accommodation. It might be that that person can go back to a family or friend's house. We can speak with them, we can try to work with that person to make sure that they are safe.
Is there anything that the victims can do to strengthen their case by providing evidence, for example, such as a diary or of some sort?
If it doesn't put you at further risk, a diary is a really good way of logging it. Just put a little marker in your phone diary, in a paper diary, just so that you know when incidents have happened, so that when we ask you about how long this has been going on, you can show us. If you've ever confided in a friend, you might have been to the doctor for injuries. We can use that as evidence in our case.
Is there something that family and friends can do if they think that their loved one is subject to domestic abuse?
Sometimes it's really difficult when domestic abuse is happening, that it's difficult to stick with that person because it's so painful to watch. But I think it's really important to remain as a support to them and let them know that no matter when they are ready and what is happening, you will be there. Also, we've got Clare's Law, which enables people to ask whether or not a person has got a previous history of domestic abuse or violence. We can tell people if we think that there is a risk being posed to them. You yourself said you began to question yourself, ask what you possibly had done to ask for this. Lots of people that I deal with ask the same thing, and actually if we can show them it's not about them, it's that behaviour that's ingrained in that person, it really does open people's eyes to the fact that they're unlikely to change, and it's a really good tool for us to help people and to empower them with the information that they need to move on and end that relationship.
almost 1 in 3 women between the ages of 16 and 59 will experience domestic abuse. And while women are more likely to be the victims, men are victims too. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is a path out there for safety, and I'm living proof.
You very much are living proof, Brenda. I mean, thank you for that, because I know that wasn't very easy for you, but hopefully would have helped quite a few men and women today, because it's thought that cases have increased 20% since lockdown first started in March last year. And for the Metropolitan Police to get in touch with you shows the gravitas of the situation that so many people are living with at the moment.
Yeah, I was really shocked and surprised when they got in touch. But, the thing for me that I found quite comforting was the fact of the Clare's Law. I had no idea that there was something that was out there for friends and family who are the ones that, a lot of people should talk to and maybe are scared to say something to. But that was really quite an eye-opening experience for me.
And for those who aren't aware what Clare's Law is, it's a piece of legislation that enables people to ask whether or not a person has a previous history of domestic abuse or violence, and then people can then be told if there's a risk being posed to them.
Yeah, and I remember that day when you spoke about it on Loose Women, and you've honestly been so brave, because, it's not easy to talk about these things on here. And, quite often, to see you pull yourself together before and then you're pulling yourself together, and we went for a lunch afterwards, didn't we? And you've been enormously... And I imagine that for you, Brenda, there's been something really good about this experience, that you've been now able to extend it, because all of what you said and then this film today will reach other people, will reach somebody, at least somebody today, that needs to ask for help.
Well,
so,
I just want to say
you.
thank you to all the people that did get in touch after seeing that piece, just to share their stories and just to show that, they wanted to talk to somebody to help. Just talking helps. So, just continue talking.
And it also opened the door to other people, just even within your family and your personal friends who perhaps were not aware of the issue before. When they watched you on that programme in September last year, they learnt a truth that you've often found difficult to share.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, as I said, I come across, I'm happy and I try to stay positive through everything, but, you don't know what people are hiding and you don't know what's going on behind
that's the
closed
tragedy
doors.
often within domestic abuse, isn't it? That the actual victim feels shame and feels embarrassment, and that's often why they don't reach out. So the more people like you do, then hopefully the more people can also be inspired to take that step.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Safely, of course.
Safely. And we, people talk about sharing your truth, and you shared that truth, and hopefully others, use your bravery as an inspiration.
I hope so.
But if you don't want to go to the police, there are other ways that you can get help. There's information about charities and helplines for women and men on our website. You can call Refuge's 24-hour National Domestic Abuse Helpline for free on 0808 2000 24/7.